The porch light, a sickly orange glow, barely cut through the October haze. Sara, my Sara, was a silhouette, a laugh bubbling up from under her elaborate Catrina mask. And him, his arm was a possessive band around her waist. My gut twisted, a cold, hard knot. David, it had to be him. I'd suspected him for weeks, a persistent itch under my skin. This stolen moment, this intimacy amidst the chaotic pulse of the Halloween party tore a ragged hole right through me. I can't believe this, I muttered to myself, the words barely audible over the music. My hands balled into fists in my pockets. Weeks of Sara's distance, her terse texts, her sudden unavailability, it all clicked into place. She always had an excuse. Busy with work, she'd text. Early meeting tomorrow. The excuses felt thin, like gauze. The blurry selfie she'd sent just last night, a silver-dusted mask just like the one I saw, flashed on my screen. 22:31. Her alibi? Convenient. Look at the timestamp, I'd thought then, feeling a flicker of unease. But the next morning, a telltale shimmer on my car seat. Silver glitter, the exact shade I'd seen on the porch. David, he'd ridden with me. My fingers brushed the sparkly evidence. A chill snaked up my spine. No way, I whispered, the glitter sticking to my fingertip. We need to talk, I said, the words flat, hollow, as I watched her across the kitchen table. She busied herself with her coffee, avoiding my gaze. Her mug clinked against the saucer. About last night. Her eyes finally met mine, wide and innocent. What about it? I told you I was home by 10:30. She took a slow sip of coffee. The lie hung between us, thick and cloying. The selfie, it was conveniently timed. She scoffed, a brittle sound. She pushed her chair back slightly. You think I'm lying? After all this time? Her voice, usually so melodic, was sharp, defensive. I just want the truth, Sara, I insisted, my voice tight. But the truth remained elusive, wrapped in her denial. She stood up then, walked to the sink. The conversation spiraled, a public confrontation disguised as a private one, each word a weapon. Later that week, a small, forgotten object glinted from under my sofa cushion. My hand closed around it. David's MetroCard. My heart hammered against my ribs. What's this doing here? I mumbled, pulling it out. A quick scan of the fare box. 23:05. Not 10:30, not 10:31. My eyes went wide. This was for the 10:45 downtown route, the one that stopped right by her apartment. He'd left my place at 10:30. Supposedly, I repeated, the word tasting bitter. My mind reeled. This wasn't just a hunch anymore. This was a pattern of deception, concrete proof that gnawed at me. The small plastic rectangle felt heavy in my hand. The moral decision loomed. Do I expose him, expose them, and risk shattering everything we'd built? Or do I try to confront Sara again, armed with this irrefutable evidence, and hope for a shred of honesty? The cost, either way, would be immense. I could lose her, lose my trust and friendship, maybe even lose a part of myself. The world seemed to shrink, tightening around me, leaving only the metallic taste of betrayal. I looked down at the MetroCard, a small plastic rectangle holding a universe of lies. The next move was mine, and the weight of it pressed down, heavy and overwhelming. The thought of confronting David directly, of seeing his smug face crumble, was tempting. But the implications? That was a different kind of fire. I stared at my phone, the screen dark. My fingers hovered over Sara's contact. What do I even say? I thought aloud. The glitter on my car seat, the MetroCard in my hand, they were silent witnesses. I needed to gather myself, to prepare. This wasn't a casual chat. This was an excavation. The air in my apartment felt heavy, thick with unspoken words.
The next day, I found myself waiting at the coffee shop we usually frequented. My palms were damp. Sara walked in, her usual bright smile faltering when she saw my serious face. "Hey," she said, her voice a little too light. She sat down, pushing a stray strand of hair behind her ear. "What's up?" "We need to really talk, Sara," I began, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. I slid the MetroCard across the table. Her eyes widened, focusing on the numbers. "What is this?" she asked, her voice a whisper. "This is David's MetroCard," I explained. "And the timestamp? It's from 23:05, the 10:45 downtown bus, the one that stops by your place." She picked up the card, turning it over, her face drained of color. I don't know what you're talking about." Her words were weak, unconvincing. "Don't you?" I asked softly, pushing the glitter-dusted photo of the car seat across the table too. "This was in my car, the morning after the party, the same silver glitter from your mask." She flinched, pulling her hand back from the card. You're spying on me?" Her voice rose, laced with indignation. It was a predictable defense. "No, Sara," I said, my voice firmer. "I'm not spying. I'm just putting pieces together. Pieces you left scattered. Pieces like your selfie that was supposedly taken when you were home by 10:30, but clearly you weren't." She looked around the coffee shop, as if seeking an escape. People chatted, their laughter distant. Her eyes met mine, and for the first time, I saw genuine fear. "It wasn't like that," she started, but then her voice trailed off. "How was it then, Sara?" I pressed, leaning forward slightly. "Tell me, because right now, all I see is a lie, a big one." Her shoulders sagged. She picked at a loose thread on her sweater. The silence stretched, thick and uncomfortable. "He walked me home," she finally admitted, her voice barely audible. "After he left your place, he stayed a bit." "A bit?" I asked, my voice flat. "Until 23:05, apparently." She didn't respond. She just stared at the table, a picture of defeat. "This isn't about him, Sara. Not really," I said, my gaze unwavering. "This is about you and the lies. Why couldn't you just tell me?" She finally looked up, her eyes glistening. "I was scared," she confessed. "Scared of hurting you, scared of what you'd think." "And you thought lying was better?" I asked, a bitter edge to my voice. She shook her head slowly. No, it wasn't." The coffee shop around us faded into a blur. It was just us and the shattered pieces of our friendship. The confession hung in the air, heavy and final. I felt a strange mix of relief and profound sadness. The truth, once so elusive, now felt like a punch to the gut. The world hadn't shrunk, but it had certainly changed. Update 1. The conversation ended with an agreement to give each other space. I walked out of the coffee shop feeling lighter, yet profoundly alone. The MetroCard remained on the table, a silent symbol. Update 2. A week later, I received a short text from Sara. "I'm sorry," it read. No explanation, no defense, just those 2 words. I didn't reply. The path forward remains unclear, but at least the lies are gone. The MetroCard felt heavy in my hand. My mind was clear. This wasn't about anger, it was about principle. I called Sara. "Meet me at the waterfront park, by the old lighthouse. Half an hour." My voice was calm, steady. No drama, just a direct request. She arrived soon after, her shoulders hunched. The setting sun painted the sky in orange and purple, a contrast to the gray mood. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice small. I didn't hold back. I detailed the dates, the bus route, the glitter. Each detail was like a hammer blow. Her face went pale. Tears welled in her eyes. "It's true," she whispered. She admitted everything. Not just David, but also a growing unhappiness in her own life. A quiet sorrow I hadn't noticed. The romantic relationship was over, a clear casualty. But a different path opened, a fragile one. We would try to rebuild a friendship. It would be hard, but we started talking. David was next. I chose a quiet coffee shop, away from our usual spots. He sat across from me, a fake smile plastered on his face. He even tried to order coffee for me. "No thanks," I said. "I won't be staying long." I laid out the evidence. His smile vanished. His face grew hard. "You're accusing me?" he said, his voice rising. "After all we've shared?" He tried to turn it around on me. It was a low blow. I kept my voice even. "I'm not accusing, David. I'm stating facts." I showed him the MetroCard. This card, your card, used at 10:45 on the downtown bus, the bus Sara took home. His eyes narrowed. He looked away, then back at me. "What about it?" he challenged. I pushed the glitter photo across the table. "This glitter, the same as on Sara's mask at the party, in my car the next morning." He stammered, "It's a coincidence." He tried to laugh, but it sounded hollow. "No, it's not," I said, my voice cutting through his bravado. "And the texts, David, the ones you sent Sara asking her to delete hers, saying you'd explain it later. I saw those." His jaw tightened. He slumped back in his chair. "You went through her phone?" he said, trying to deflect again. "She showed them to me," I corrected, "when she finally decided to be honest." His eyes flickered with something I couldn't quite place. Anger? Guilt? "Our friendship is over," I stated clearly. "I can't trust you anymore." He started to protest, but I cut him off. "I value honesty. You didn't give me that." He stood up abruptly. "Fine," he snapped, his voice tight, "if that's how you feel." He walked out without another word. The cost was real. A long-standing friendship, gone. It left an empty space, but the payoff was a strong sense of knowing my own worth. I set clear boundaries. The next day, I contacted the event organizer. I described David's actions. I mentioned the breach of trust. I didn't ask for him to be fired. I just presented the facts, clearly and without emotion. The organizer listened carefully. "I understand," she said. "We have a strict code of conduct for staff." A week later, I saw David's name removed from the upcoming event roster. It was a quiet change, not announced, but it was there, a public consequence. He lost the opportunity to work future events, something he enjoyed. It wasn't about revenge, it was about integrity. The air around me felt lighter, cleaner. The raw wound of betrayal began to heal. I stood by the lighthouse a few days later. The air smelled of salt. Sara joined me. We talked, not about the past, but about the future, about rebuilding trust. "It won't be easy," she said, looking out at the water. "No," I agreed, "but it's worth trying." We stood there in silence for a while, two friends finding their way back to each other on different terms. The incident led to a new policy for event staff. A required ethics training was implemented. It focused on professional conduct and conflict of interest. It also emphasized transparency and personal relationships that might affect work. The organizer credited my feedback for the change. Sara and I continued to meet. We slowly rebuilt our friendship. It was different, more honest, built on shared vulnerability. The MetroCard was still in my drawer, a reminder of the hard-won truth. Betrayal cuts deep, yet truth offers a path to healing. How do we rebuild trust when the foundations have crumbled? And what does true integrity demand of us?